The air in the Smithsonian's archive room hung thick with the scent of aged paper and polished oak, a sanctuary where history's ghosts lingered in whispers. Dr. Elias Hawthorne, senior archivist for 19th century Southern collections, leaned over a newly acquired ledger from a Virginia estate sale. At 52, with salt and pepper hair and calloused fingers from decades of handling fragile documents, Elias knew the brutal euphemisms of slavery all too well. Humans reduced to property. Children bought as companions for lonely plantation heirs. But this ledger, bound in cracked leather and donated anonymously, hit too close. Hawthorne Hall, his family's faded Virginia estate. His eyes snagged on March 1852, girl 14,950, light-skinned, mannered, companion for Thomas, gold anklet from Richmond Smith, lock concealed. A chill traced Elias's spine. Thomas Hawthorne, his great-great-granduncle, dead at 20. Companionate slavery was no myth. Virginia records brimmed with it. Elite families purchasing clever teens to civilize their children, binding them with decorative chains disguised as jewelry. Elias recalled WPA slave narratives from the 1930s. Women describing gold cuffs that chafed like iron at night. Tucked in the ledger's crease was a magnolia petal, its edges embroidered with faint stitches. North, Elias's breath caught. Abolitionist codes, real signals sewn into hems and quilts by enslaved women, guiding the Underground Railroad. Harper's ferry routes, Quaker safe houses, his family. He snapped photos and drove to Hawthorne Hall that evening, the ledger's secrets gnawing at him. The mansion squatted amid overgrown tobacco fields, columns veiled in Spanish moss. Cousin Margaret Reed, sharp as a switchblade at 65, met him on the porch with iced tea, sweating in cut crystal. "Elias, you archive hounds always dig up dirt. What's got you spooked?" He showed the petal. Margaret paled. Thomas's trunk. Boy was soft, poet in a planter's world. Father bought that girl, Lila, to toughen him. Here's his journal. She thrust a locked volume into his hands, key glinting. Take it. Montgomerys from Louisiana are circling. Want everything hushed. In his cluttered D.C. apartment, Elias unlocked the journal under lamplight. Thomas's script flowed like poetry. April 1852. Lila arrived today. Eyes like river chestnuts, voice laced with French from New Orleans. They locked mother's anklet on her, gold vines hiding the chain. Father. Keeps companions loyal. She curtsied, but her gaze held storms. Elias traced the words, heart pounding. New Orleans auctions sold fancy girls like Lila at premiums. Beauty for house rolls, paroled market logs. Virginia planters imported them for isolation. May 1852. Lila reads Hamlet on the veranda, checkers her secret weapon. Chain rattles at night on her pallet. I loathe it. Asked mother to free her. Jewelry for your pet, darling. Her skin weeps under gold. Thomas's voice bled through. Loneliness of plantation life, fields echoing with whips. Lila's quiet defiance. June. She showed a hemstitch. And for North. Freedom's thread, she breathed. Patterns from peddlers passed in mother's sewing circle. Burn it or join? Elias cross-checked. 1937 WPA interview. Richmond Lila, escaped via stitched maps. Real. October. Patrols flogged Ben. Lila nursed him. Gula, hymns low. Father suspects. Shortened her chain. It bites her ankle raw. I love her. Sin or salvation. Phone buzzed. Dr. Lena Brooks. Montgomery's threatening suit. Family myth. Dig careful. Elias returned to the hall at midnight. Margaret rummaged the attic. Dust motes dancing. Found this. A locket. LT and TH inside. Lila's miniature. Back-etched Flea July 54. Father poisoned him, Margaret whispered. River suicide. Arsenic traces, whispers said. Gazette clipping confirmed. Runaway gold anklet with young Hawthorne. Reward 100, fugitive slave law. Journal raced, May 1854. Lila's map done, Philadelphia Quakers. I'll decoy patrols. Father watches. Torn page, gone. Riverboat, grabbed from behind. Father? Poi. Elias's phone rang, blocked. Gravelly voice. Hawthorne, burn it, or drown like kin. Line dead. He clutched the locket, pulse thundering. The threads were unraveling. Family treason, buried love, a girl's flight. But who silenced Thomas? Dr. Elias Hawthorne didn't sleep that night. The anonymous call echoed in his mind. Stop digging, or join your uncle in the river. Its gravelly voice distorted, but the Virginia drawl unmistakable. He bolted his apartment door, double-checked the chain, and spread Thomas's journal, the ledger, and the locket across his kitchen table under the harsh fluorescent light. The magnolia petal with its embroidered free stared back like an accusation. Elias was no stranger to threats. Museums attracted cranks, descendants protective of whitewashed legacies. But this felt personal. Hawthorne blood calling to Hawthorne blood. He snapped photos of everything, emailing them to Dr. Lena Brooks with a note. Backup. Tell no one yet. Coming in tomorrow. Real historical anchor. Threats to researchers aren't new. In 2018, the Smithsonian faced pushback from Southern heritage groups over reinterpreting artifacts from plantations like Thomas Jefferson's Monticello, where companion slaves like Sally Hemings were romanticized in family lore before DNA evidence and diaries forced reckoning. Elias's own family fit the pattern. Hawthorne Hall's ledgers, cross-referenced with Virginia State Library records, listed 142 enslaved people in 1850, including 6 house companions valued at premium prices. Dawn broke gray and rainy as Elias sped toward the museum, wipers slapping rhythmically. Lena met him in the sub-basement archive, her locks tied back, eyes sharp behind rimless glasses. Elias, what the hell? Montgomery cousins? As in the Louisiana shackle photo Montgomerys? Their Virginia branch married into your line in 1848. I've got the genealogy. She pulled up a digital scan. Marriage record of Thomas's sister, Eliza Hawthorne, to Charles Montgomery III. This ledger isn't just yours, it's theirs, and that call. Traced the number to a burner, but bought at a Henrico County gas station. Elias exhaled. They're circling. But look. He opened the journal to the torn page. Lila gone. I followed to the river. Saw the boat. Then hands grabbed me. Father, brother, poi. Lena leaned in, magnifying the rip. Faint ink bled through. Poisoned wine. They cross-checked obsessively. A digitized coroner's report from the Richmond Enquirer, 1856. Young Thomas Hawthorne, 20. Deceased by misadventure. Arsenic in evening tonic. No foul play suspected. But footnotes in a 1937 WPA slave narrative from a former Hawthorne field hand, Isaiah Washington, interviewed in Philadelphia. Massa Thomas sweet on dat light gal Lila. Tried to hep her run. Old Massa done sumpin' to his drink. Gal got away, but boy paid. Isaiah's account matched dozens. Enslaved companions in Upper South plantations, Virginia, Maryland. Often fled via river routes to free states, aided by conflicted white sympathizers per the Underground Railroad records compiled by William Still in 1872. Lena whistled. This is explosive. Companionate slavery with abolitionist embroidery. We need the full Hawthorne archive. I'll call Margaret. No, Elias snapped. She's spooked. Let me go alone. Tonight. But events accelerated. By noon, museum director Victor Lang called them in. Tall, silver-haired ex-diplomat. Lang paced his oak-paneled office overlooking the mall. Elias, the Montgomery's lawyer, faxed a cease and desist. Claimed the ledger's a forgery. Demand its return. Board meeting tomorrow. They've got donors. Victor glanced at Lena. And anonymous tip to the Post. Smithsonian pushing fake history for clicks. Elias's jaw tightened. It's not fake. We've got corroboration. WPA, newspapers, the locket. Victor sighed. Publish peer-reviewed or bury it. 1 week. As they left, Lina whispered, "He's scared. Montgomery's fund 20% of our southern collections." That afternoon, Elias drove back to Hawthorne Hall under steel skies. Margaret greeted him frantic, shotgun by the door. They came last night, 2 men in a black SUV, asking for the trunk. Tore up the attic. Found this. She thrust a bundle of Lila's dresses, moth-eaten silk and cotton, hems alive with stitches. North 20 miles, Quaker farm, Harper's Ferry station, key under oak. Elias's breath caught. Real artifact parallel. The Levi Coffin House in Indiana displays embroidered quilts from 1850s fugitives, maps sewn by enslaved women like those described in Harriet Jacobs's Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl, 1861. Margaret. These are Underground Railroad signals. Lila wasn't just a companion. She was a conductor. Margaret paled. Thomas knew. Here's his letter, hidden in the trunk lining. Folded foolscap, dated July 1854. My dearest Lila, the stitches guide you. I've bribed the boatman. Midnight at the James. Father suspects. Lock clicked funny last night. If I don't follow, burn this. Yours in sin and salvation. T.H. Elias pocketed it. Why hide it 170 years? Guilt, Margaret muttered. Granddad burned half the papers post-Civil War. Lost cause nonsense. But after that shackle exhibit went viral, young'uns like me started digging. Night fell as Elias searched the attic alone. Margaret below with her gun. Under floorboards, a tin box. Thomas's poetry notebook. Love sonnets to Lila, interspersed with abolitionist pamphlets. Uncle Tom's Cabin excerpts. Smuggled from Boston via peddler networks, documented in Still's records. One poem. Her ankle gleams gold, but chains the soul. I forge the key in midnight's coal. Footsteps creak downstairs. Elias froze. Margaret's voice. Who's there? A thud, then silence. Heart pounding, he crept down, phone flashlight piercing shadows. Margaret slumped by the hearth. Chloroform rag nearby, pulse weak but steady. SUV headlights pierced the rain-smeared windows, tires crunching gravel. Elias dragged her to the parlor couch, barricaded the door with an antique sideboard. Engine idled outside. He dialed 911. Break-in at Hawthorne Hall, Enrico, armed. Sirens wailed distant. The SUV peeled out, taillights vanishing into the storm. Sheriff's deputies arrived 20 minutes later, logbook noting vandalism, possible Hawthorne family dispute. Margaret revived, identifying no one. Elias showed the dresses. They bagged them as evidence. Museum curator? The lead deputy grunted. Heard about your lot stirring old ghosts. Back at the museum by 3 a.m., Lina waited with coffee and her laptop. Montgomery lawyer retracted the cease and desist. Awkward after the cops, but Victor wants a full team. And this. She played a voicemail. Eleanor Montgomery Williams, the silver-haired matriarch from the Louisiana exhibit drama. Dr. Hawthorne, family matters stay private. Meet me at the Virginia Historical Society tomorrow, noon. Come alone. Elias nodded, adrenaline fading to resolve. It's a trap or a breakthrough. Next morning, Richmond's Virginia Historical Society buzzed with tourists. Eleanor sat in a private reading room, pearls gleaming, flanked by a lawyer and a young man. Her grandson, Alex Reed, tech entrepreneur, per LinkedIn. Cousin Elias, she began coolly. Thomas was unstable. Diaries are fiction. Return them. Elias slid photos across. Dresses, letter, locket. WPA narratives confirm Lila's escape. Your Charles Montgomery chased her. Reward poster in the Enquirer. Arsenic traces. Convenient. Eleanor blanched. Alex leaned forward. Eyes intense. Grandmother, enough. I'm the anonymous donor. Found the trunk in her attic. Thought museum would handle ethically. But threats? That's not us. Lawyer cleared throat. Hypothetically. Elias pressed. Who poisoned Thomas? Eleanor stood. Voice steel. Your great-grandfather, Elias, to save the family. Lila fled. Thomas planned to follow. Charles caught him at the river. Forced the wine. Misadventure. Real echo. Intra-family violence over abolitionist sympathies documented in Slavery, by another name, Douglas Blackman, 2008, with planters eliminating traitors quietly. Alex pulled Elias aside. She's lying. I have more. Lila's descendant lives in Philly. DNA matched to the Lockett portrait. Help me expose it all. I'll fund the exhibit. Betrayal layered. As they spoke, Elias's phone buzzed. Lena, museum vandalized. Journal copy stolen from your desk. Elias raced back, sirens converging. Victor fumed. Montgomery's called the board. Funding cut unless we halt. Inside, desk ransacked, but Elias had hidden the originals in a safe. Lena clutched a scrap. Torn journal page completion. Poisoned wine by father's hand. Lila free. I follow in death. Cliffhanger deepened. That night, Alex texted Elias a photo. Modern photo of a black woman. 70s holding Lila's dress. Caption, meet Lila's great-granddaughter tomorrow, but watch your back. Eleanor's men are closer than you think. Tires screeched outside Elias's window. Dr. Elias Hawthorne clutched the locket tightly as he sped back to his apartment. The anonymous caller's threat, echoing like a ghost from 1854. It was 2 a.m., the streets of Washington empty under sodium lights. But his mind was a whirlwind. The locket's engraving, Flea 754, wasn't just a clue. It was a breadcrumb trail to one of Virginia's darkest secrets, the Silversmith Network, a covert circle of Richmond artisans who crafted not just jewelry, but keys to freedom. Elias had read about them in declassified WPA files, Jewish and Quaker silversmiths, forging lockpicks disguised as pendants, sold to house slaves via peddlers. Real accounts from the 1937 Federal Writers Project described golden teeth with hidden files passed in markets, enabling escapes like Harriet Tubman's. If Lila's anklet came from them, the Hawthorne ledger wasn't family trivia. It was explosive evidence of complicity or betrayal. He bolted the door, spread documents across his kitchen table, the journal, ledger photos, locket, and now, a hurried Google Scholar dive yielding digitized Richmond directories from 1852. Jacob Levy, silversmith, 14th St. Market, specialties, custom locks and chains. Levy's name appeared in abolitionist pamphlets, per the Gilder Lehrman Institute archives. Elias's pulse raced. His own family Bible listed a payment to Levy, $120 for heirloom restraint in Thomas's name. Sleep evaded him. Instead, feverish dreams merged past and present. Thomas whispering to Lila by candlelight, her needle flashing secret codes. Elias jolted awake at dawn. Laptop open to Ancestry.com. Lila Turner, matching description. Born or 1838, New Orleans auction. 1851, resold to Hawthorne's. Post 1865 census. A free black woman in Philadelphia, married to a barber with a son named Thomas. Descendants, one hit, Maya, Turner Hawthorne, modern genealogist in D.C. But first, safety. Elias texted Dr. Lena Brooks, threatened. Meeting at museum 9 a.m., bring security. Then steeling himself, he opened the journal to the torn page remnant, piecing together Thomas's final words with UV light. Poison in my tea. Father discovered the silversmith key. Lila fled. Godspeed. The Smithsonian's secure vault felt like a bunker that morning. Lena, a no-nonsense historian with locks and a Ph.D. in 19th century black resistance, scanned the locket under magnification. Arsenic traces. Coroner's report fudged. common for suicides covering murders in slaveholding families. Look here. She projected WPA narrative. Your VA 147. Lila, from Henrico, chained fancy girl. Silversmith Levy filed her lock night of July 4th, 1854. Young master rode her to river crossing. He never came back. Elias's voice cracked. My great-great-grand-uncle? A hero? Lina shook her head. Or pawn. These companion setups were psychological warfare, enslavers forcing intimacy to break spirits. Real diaries like Mary Chestnut's 1860s entries describe pet slaves as status symbols, but WPA survivors called it soul murder. Security arrived. They hunkered down, plotting. Contact Maya Turner, Lina urged, and the Montgomerys. They're panicking because this links to their Louisiana branch, shared silversmith suppliers. Flashback, July 1854, Hawthorne Hall veranda. Thomas's POV. The summer air hung thick with jasmine and tobacco smoke, cicadas droning like accusations. Thomas Hawthorne, 18 now, tall and bookish with hawthorn blue eyes, watched Lila stitch by lantern light. Her gold anklet gleamed innocently, Levy's masterpiece, lock disguised as a sapphire clasp. She'd worn it 3 years, companion to his lessons, walks, secrets. But tonight, the key burned in his pocket, smuggled from Richmond's 14th Street market by a Quaker peddler, posing as a Bible salesman. Father suspects, Thomas whispered, glancing at the big house where lanterns flickered. Real patrols roamed Henrico, after Nat Turner's 1831 rebellion echoes. Virginia militia logs documented nightly sweeps, $50 bounties for runaways. Lila's needle paused, her light brown eyes fierce. Then tonight, Massa Thomas, July 4th. Fireworks cover the splashes. Your map stitch is true. 3 miles to the James Quaker boat at Bend. Her voice, refined by forced French lessons, hid Gullah roots from her mother's Sea Islands kin. He pressed the key into her palm. Levy said twist counterclockwise. Files inside if jams. I'll row decoy east, you west, with the dress map. Intimacy twisted his gut. Their friendship, scripted by his mother, who diary noted. Lila amuses Thomas admirably. Chain ensures fidelity. Real parallel. Virginia Plantation Mistress Diaries, Virginia Historical Society, praised such elevated servitude. She touched his cheek. First unforced gesture. You risk all. Why? Because chains mock love, he said, kissing her forehead. Journal entry unsaid, I dream of Canada with you, free. Chaos erupted at midnight. Fireworks boomed as Lila slipped to the stables. Thomas feigned sleep, heart pounding. Footsteps. Father, broad-shouldered Elias Sr., burst in. Boy, Levy's shop raided. Abolitionist nest. Where's the girl? Thomas bolted, grabbing oars. River mud sucked at the skiff. Gunshots cracked. Patrols. He rowed blindly, glimpsing Lila's silhouette, boarding a shadowed flatboat. Relief surged, then agony. Back at the dock, Father waited, shotgun lowered. Traitor spawn, tea awaits. Arsenic bitterness lingered as Thomas scrawled his last lines. Back to 2024, museum conference room. Maya Turner Hawthorne arrived at noon. Fierce, 40s, dread-streaked gray, clutching a family Bible. Grandma Lila's story passed oral. White boy died for my freedom. Kept his locket always. She matched Elias's heirloom to a tintype. Lila free, holding a baby. DNA test. Cousins, distant, via Thomas's rumored child out of wedlock. Montgomery call came mid-meeting. Eleanor Montgomery Reed, icy grande dame. Retract, or we sue for defamation. Your hero uncle was deranged. Poisoned himself over scandal. But Lina traced funds. Montgomery Foundation bankrolled Hawthorne restorations, hiding ledgers. Elias rallied. Exhibit it all, chains of kinship. Real artifacts, locket, journal, levy tools from auction. Maya nodded. Add my oral histories. WPA 1VA 147 is mine. Great-grandma. Threat escalated. Apartment vandalized. Journal pages slashed. Elias fled to Maya's DC brownstone. There, in a trunk. Lila's dress fragment, stitches intact. North, Quaker Ferry, Phila, Canada. Analyzed. Cotton from 1850s New Orleans auctions, dyes matching Smithsonian samples. Night deepened. They pored over maps. Elias uncovered Levy's ledger. Online auction scan. Hawthorne order. 1 companion restraint, WW escape-proof lock. Extra key, hidden in clasp. Father had the duplicate. Explaining the raid. Cliffhanger. Maya's phone buzzed. Blocked caller. Silversmith secrets die with you. Henrico dig tomorrow, or Lila's descendants pay. Outside, headlights idled. But Elias spotted a new stitch in the dress hem. Missed before. Hawthorne Air Lives 2026. Dr. Elias Hawthorne clutched the locket as the anonymous caller's words echoed. Join your uncle in the river. It was 2 a.m. in his D.C. apartment, the journal's torn page glaring under the lamp. Heart pounding, he dialed Dr. Lina Brooks. Lina, it's worse than we thought. Montgomery's involved. Threats now. Lina, voice steady from years decoding WPA slave narratives, replied, Get here now, I've cross-referenced. You're Thomas, linked to real Underground Railroad cell in Richmond. Quaker networks, per 1854 court records from Virginia State Library. Elias grabbed the artifacts and fled to the museum. Dawn broke over the National Mall as Elias burst into Lina's office. She spread maps, 1854 escape routes from Henrico to Philadelphia, dotted with safe houses. Lila's stitches match patterns from Harriet Jacobs's incidents in the life of a slave girl, 1861. Hidden maps in hem. Real tactic used by 1,000-plus fugitives annually in Virginia. The locket's engraving, Flea 754, aligned perfectly with a July 1854 Richmond Enquirer. Add Runaway Lila, 16, gold anklet, reward 150, seen with thus Hawthorne Jr. Days later, Thomas's suicide by arsenic, poison common in planter feuds per coroner's logs. Margaret called, cousin. A state lawyer found more. Thomas's encoded letters to a LB in Philly. Burn them. Elias, no, ship everything. We're exposing it. But as he hung up, a black SUV tailed him. Montgomery's. Their Louisiana kin had sued over the shackle photo in 2023, claiming defamation, lost in court, but vindictive. Flashback immersion, 1854. Thomas Hawthorne rode silently down the James River, moonlit waters lapping the hull. Lila, huddled beside him, hem heavy with stitched map, north to Quaker's, cross at Harper's Ferry. Her gold anklet glinted, father's gift, locked by Richmond jeweler Elias Blackwood, whose bills survive in archives. $75 for companion restraint, filigree to conceal clasp. Thomas, turn back, Lila whispered, voice laced with gullah cadence from her Sea Island's mother. Your family will kill you, Thomas. Better dead free than alive chained. Mother's sewing circle past your code. Those Bible ladies, unwitting spies. Patrol dogs bayed. Thomas beached near a tobacco barn. Underground signal, lantern in window. Inside, Quaker Elias Ward, real figure, per National Park Service records, waited. Boy, you've guts! Lila's aunt in Philly paid your bounty already. But hoofbeats. Father Hawthorne and Brother James, tipped by overseer. Traitor! Father roared, pistol drawn. Scuffle. Thomas shoved Lila aboard Ward's wagon. Gunshot. Blood. James's arsenic vial, meant for Lila, spilled in chaos. Father, finish him. But Ward's men fired warning shots. Lila escaped north. Thomas staggered to river, poison burning, scrawling final journal note before drowning. Present-day escalation. Elias and Lina convened a war room. Dr. Marcus Hale, expert on companion slavery, echoing Smithsonian's 2024 exhibit, joined via Zoom. 60-plus cases, like Lila's in Virginia inventories alone, girls priced 20% higher for refined manners, per 1852 auction ledgers. They digitized everything: journal, locket, letters decoding to full escape plan. Viral potential. TikTok-ready enhancements showing stitches under UV light like the Montgomery photo. Montgomery Rep. Eleanor descended. Silver hair, steel eyes, board member at Virginia Historical Society. Dr. Hawthorne, your discovery slanders us. Thomas was unstable. Lila, a thief. We own rights to Hawthorne Hall artifacts. Cease or sue. Elias countered with evidence. Her grandfather's 1937 letter admitting family hushed the boy's folly to protect name. Eleanor blanched. Real parallel to Chestnut Diaries hiding scandals. Press leak. Washington Post. Headline: Descendant unearths diary of forbidden love and slavery's hidden codes. Museum board panicked. Donors fled, but descendants surfaced. Lila's great-great-granddaughter, Rosa Jenkins from Philly, with family Bible. Lila Jacobs, changed name post-escape. Married freeborn Quaker, birth date. Grandma spoke of the boy who died for her. Chain's key hidden in locket clasp. They opened it. Tiny map etched inside, matching journal. Climax confrontation at Hawthorne Hall. Elias, Lina, Rosa versus Eleanor and lawyers. Storm raging outside, symbolic like 1854 flood that aided escapes. Eleanor: bury it. Times were different. Rosa: different. Arsenic murder for love. Your gold chains killed dreams. Proof poured. Marcus's slideshow. 43. Similar cases from Carolinas to Louisiana. Decorative restraints in 12 photos. Smithsonian scans. Auction ads for companion girls with elegant irons. Eleanor cracked. Grandfather poisoned Thomas. Feared scandal. Lila's escape shamed us. Confession recorded. She donated Hall for exhibit. Stitched to freedom. Love, chains, and the underground codes. Epilogue. Ripple, 2026. Exhibit hidden threads. Open January 2021. Interactive. Visitors stitch codes, UV reveal maps. 500K visitors, year 1, PBS docuseries. Elias married Rosa's niece. Montgomery's funded scholarships. Final artifact. Lila's 1892 obituary from Philly Christian recorder. Fugitive companion, stitched path to freedom, forgave her chainmakers. But twist. Anonymous package, new journal fragment. Thomas survived, hid as Elias Ward. Door opens to sequels.